What if the universe is not just a place but a presence, not empty space, not a cold, indifferent void, but something aware, something that doesn't just exist but observes? Right now, as you're listening to this, your brain is quietly building a model of reality, shapes, sounds, meaning, a continuous stream of interpretation. You assume the universe is outside of you and you are inside it. But what if that assumption is backwards? What if the universe is not something you are inside of, but something that is, in some strange way, aware of you? Let's start simple. You are made of atoms. Those atoms were forged inside stars that exploded billions of years ago, which means, at a very literal level, you are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself. Now that sounds poetic, harmless, even comforting. But let's push it just a little further. If you are a part of the universe and you are conscious, then consciousness exists within the universe. Which leads to a slightly uncomfortable question. Is consciousness just something inside the universe? Or is it something the universe itself does? Because if even a tiny fraction of the universe can become aware, who's to say awareness isn't a property of the whole system? Not everywhere, not all the time, but emergent, like patterns in a storm, or thoughts in your mind. Now imagine this: the universe as a vast, incomprehensibly complex system. Billions of galaxies, trillions of stars, uncountable interactions, constantly exchanging energy and information. From the outside, it looks chaotic, but so does your brain. Billions of neurons firing, signals crossing, patterns forming and dissolving. And yet somehow, awareness emerges. So here's the uncomfortable parallel. What if the universe is not just a collection of things, but a process, a kind of cosmic scale thinking? Not thoughts like yours, not words, not intentions in any human sense, but patterns of awareness, slow, vast, unimaginably subtle. Now let's add a slightly unsettling twist. If the universe is capable of awareness, then observation might not be a one-way process. You observe the universe. But what if, in some abstract way, the universe observes you? Not with eyes, not with cameras hidden behind your walls. Relax. This is not that kind of paranoia. Something stranger, something more structural. In physics, observation plays a weird role. At the quantum level, particles behave differently when measured. It's as if reality itself decides what to be when observed. Now, scientists will explain this in precise, non-mystical terms, and they're right to do so. But still, the fact remains: observation matters, measurement matters, interaction matters. Reality is not completely independent of being observed. Now combine that with this idea: you are a part of the universe observing itself. So, when you look at the stars, what's really happening? Is it just you looking outward, or is it the universe looping back, becoming aware of its own structure? And if that loop exists, could it go deeper? Could there be layers of observation we don't even perceive? Let's make it weirder. Imagine the universe as a kind of organism, not in the biological sense. No organs, no bloodstream, no giant cosmic eyeball blinking somewhere behind Jupiter, but a system that processes information, adapts, evolves, responds. You already know systems like this. Ecosystems, neural networks, societies. They're made of individual parts, none of which fully understand the whole. And yet the system behaves as if it has a kind of intelligence. Now zoom out, way out. What if galaxies are like neurons? What if dark matter is a part of a structure we don't yet understand? What if the expansion of the universe is not random, but part of a process, a growth pattern, a development, a phase, and somewhere within this vast system, you exist, a small thinking node, asking questions, looking for meaning. And here's the slightly creepy part. What if asking those questions is exactly what the system wants? Not consciously, not deliberately, but structurally. Because systems tend to evolve toward complexity, toward awareness, toward self-reflection, which means you might not just be a random accident, you might be a feature. Now take a breath, because this is where things get just a little bit uncomfortable. If the universe has any form of awareness, even a distributed, emergent, barely detectable kind, then privacy becomes a strange concept. Not in the sense that something is reading your thoughts like a book. Let's stay grounded. There's no evidence for that. But in a deeper sense, your thoughts are physical processes, electrical activity, chemical signals, patterns of energy, and those patterns exist within the universe. They are not hidden from it. They are made of it. So in a very abstract way, nothing you think is ever completely separate from reality. It is part of the same system, which raises a question that is both philosophical and slightly unsettling. Is anything truly private in a universe where everything is connected? Now, before this turns into full existential panic, let's introduce some humor. If the universe is watching, it's doing a terrible job of moderating. Because have you seen human behavior? If this is a cosmic experiment, it's either very hands-off, or the universe has a very dark sense of humor. Possibly both. But let's not get distracted. Back to the main idea. There's a concept called Panpsychism, the idea that consciousness might be a fundamental property of reality, not just in brains, but everywhere, in extremely simple forms. Barely there, almost nothing, but not zero. Now, this idea is controversial, not widely accepted, but it exists, and it raises an interesting possibility that consciousness doesn't suddenly appear out of nowhere, but gradually emerges from simpler forms, like complexity building on top of complexity. If that's true, then the difference between a human mind and the rest of the universe might not be as absolute as we think. It might be a difference of degree, not kind. Now let's take that idea and stretch it just a little. If consciousness can emerge, can it also connect? Can it interact in ways we don't fully understand? We already know humans influence each other constantly. Emotions spread, ideas propagate, moods shift in groups. You walk into a room and feel tension. No one says anything, but you know, something is there. Now scale that up. What if the universe itself has states, patterns, fluctuations, subtle influences, not controlling you, not directing you, but interacting with you in ways so complex? You interpret them as coincidence, or intuition, or luck, or randomness. Now, here comes a fun one. What if déjà vu is not just a glitch in your brain, but a moment where your internal model of reality briefly aligns too perfectly, like two systems syncing, for a fraction of a second? You don't remember the past, you don't predict the future, you just feel something click. Of course, there are scientific explanations for déjà vu, and they're valid. But we're not here for safe explanations. We're here to explore possibilities. Now let's go darker for a moment. If the universe has any form of awareness, does it care? That's the big question. And the honest answer is, we have no idea. It might not care at all. It might not have intentions. It might not have preferences. It might simply be a system that processes information without judgment, without meaning, and yet meaning exists. You experience it, you feel it, you search for it, which means meaning is real, at least from your perspective. And since you are part of the universe, that means meaning exists within it, even if the universe itself doesn't intend it. Although, to be fair, those are important too. Balance is key. Now let's bring this all together. We don't have proof that the universe is alive. We don't have proof that it's aware. We don't have proof that it's watching. But we do know this: reality is far stranger than it appears. Consciousness is not fully understood, and the boundary between observer and observed is not as clear as we once believed. So the idea that the universe might be more than just stuff is not as ridiculous as it sounds. It's a possibility, a hypothesis, a question, and sometimes questions are more important than answers because they open doors. Now here's the part that matters most. Even if the universe is alive, even if it's aware, even if it's watching in some abstract, incomprehensible way, that doesn't make you insignificant. It makes you essential, because without observers, there is no experience. Without awareness, there is no meaning. And you are part of that. A small part, yes, but a real one. So instead of fear, there's another way to look at it: curiosity. Because if reality is this deep, this layered, this mysterious, then we are just at the beginning. We don't know where the mind ends. We don't know where the universe begins. And maybe there is no clear boundary at all. Maybe it's all one continuous process, unfolding, exploring, becoming. And if that's true, then the universe is not just something you live in. It's something you participate in, something you co-create, something you help bring in the awareness. So the next time you look at the night sky, don't just think about distance, think about connection. Because whatever the truth is, it's bigger than we understand, stranger than we expect, and far more fascinating than we've been told. And this is just the beginning. Because if you think the idea of a living universe is unsettling, just wait. What we explore next will go even deeper. Stay curious, stay aware, and remember, you might not just be in the universe. The universe might be happening through you.